it's everything you got. Then Monday night rolls around and you realize there's a shot. You're only 10 points away. All those times when your team had no fight, they're just so gosh darn frail. Then your star quarterback let another deep ball sail, and your third round pick bet on his team. Then go check out our streets where everybody knows your pain, and they listen to complaints. You wanna be where you can see our bodies bring you no shame. You wanna go where everybody knows your pain.
Welcome into another edition of the Dad Bod Fantasy Squad. I'm here with Alex, and we are doing a 3-round rookie mock tonight. I'm excited. We're going to do this, and then we'll probably go over this one and the one before the NFL draft and kind of compare and see where our differences are based on where the players were drafted and who they went to. Alex, we haven't been together in a little bit, buddy. How you been?
Yeah, man. It's I'm just ready for football to start back up. I can't stand listening to people talk about baseball right now. Can't do it.
It is that time of the year where
worst time of the year.
Baseball is in that slow kind of just in the middle of it, you know. They're going. There's nothing serious going on quite yet.
No.
And we had the schedule released today. What do you think? Any games caught your eye or?
Yeah, a couple. So that Patriots-Eagles game is going to be rough as a Patriots fan. I'm interested to see what that offense looks like, but they will be honoring Tom Brady. So that'll be kind of cool. And then the one I'm really excited for is the Lions-Chiefs game. I know me and you both were really high on a bunch of Lions players last year. Yeah. So
still am.
Yeah. Oh, same. You already know. I'm ride or die with Goff. I got all the flack for it last year, and kind of paid off for me. So
yeah,
I'm excited for those two.
I was ride or die with Amon, as you know, and that panned out. So I was pretty excited.
Stud.
So we have with that picture of you just sitting there. I love it. So we are doing our 3-round rookie mock draft. No big surprise at the 1-1 with Bijan going to Norton. And then our dude, Greg Kellogg, go follow him on Twitter if you guys don't. I'll get his handle here in a minute, but he goes with Jahmyr Gibbs at the 1-2. A little surprising in the Superflex.
Yeah.
But I'm not, overly surprised by it. He had top 12 cap, right? Top 12, top 13 capital going to the Lions. No Swift there. He's going to be utilized in the passing game. I like the pick. I think he's going to be fantastic for Detroit this season.
I think he does some this season to where there's weeks you definitely are playing him. I think long term, just because, Monty's not very young anymore. We already know running backs lifespan in the league is very short. So I think definitely it's a little early for me, but I think next year is really where he might end up being like a top 10 back in the league.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't see why not. We were talking about it a little bit yesterday when we went through our rookie running backs, and Cody's a little bit lower on him than me and Mario were, but if they get back to how they wanted to utilize DeAndre Swift and they do that with Gibbs, I really do think the sky's the limit.
Yeah. I like him. There's so much running back talent, and I feel like a lot of running backs are in a similar situation to where I would have drafted him a little longer, but I don't hate it.
I don't either. Then we have two QBs go off the board, Anthony Richardson at the 1-3, and then Bryce Young at the 1-4. That seems to be how it's starting to trend, where Richardson's going as the first QB off the board.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm really high on Richardson. I think with
This is a
what
great
he's just,
great point.
yeah, he's,
Yeah, so Greg Kellogg, he took him beat Gibbs at the 1-2.
right.
His handle too, by the way, I just got it. It is Gregory L. Kellogg, Kellogg. Great follow for fantasy football. So go follow him if you guys don't. But he said, yeah, you don't draft a player in the
Right.
top 12 to sit, which by all accounts, man, it makes sense. If you draft one of these quarterbacks, you really don't know if they're going to start this season.
I mean, I think 2 out of
They
the
will
three
at some
starting.
point.
Yeah.
All 3 of them are going to start at some point. You just don't know
Stroud
when.
I think Stroud and Young start game 1.
Yeah, it's more than likely, but they did say, what did they say about Young? That they're not going to rush him into the starting role, and they're going to see him. They want to see him develop. So you never know with rookie quarterbacks. You really don't.
Yeah, I agree. I think just the way I look at it, if you're a new coach, you're a new GM, and this is a new system, this is your guy, you have a very, very short time frame to produce results. So the sitting for a year thing, I think every coach says, the best quarterback's going to start the season. We want him to learn. Where I think Stroud and Young are going to start game 1 regardless.
Yeah, I'm with you, and I think Richardson's starting by week 6, 7.
He's my favorite
Indy
class.
Fantasy football wise, I think he has the highest upside.
For sure.
He's up there with Jalen Hurts and Fields, how they play. So that rushing ability really kind of unleashes a different level of quarterback play for fantasy football. So at the 1-5, was that Cody? Cody goes with CJ Stroud, and then at the 1-6, Mario goes JSN. Again, I'm up. Oh boy. Sorry. I'm gonna go QJ at the 1-7. I think out of those 3, right? So we've been talking about the QJ, Jordan Addison, Zay Flowers. So those are the 3 right there that are kind of deadlocked. I like Johnson's upside, just with how he's with Herbert. He's going to be in that offense. Mike Williams gets hurt every season, and then Keenan Allen is 31, so he should be kind of tailing off here soon. And he's going to be locked in with Herbert for the next 5-6 years.
Yeah, no, I like it. What I don't love Zay Flowers. And there's a couple. I
love Zay Flowers, the player.
Yes.
I don't like the landing spot.
Yes. I think he's very good. I don't love this wide receiver class in general, but I think he is a top 3 receiver in this class, but he's going to literally the worst situation for a wide receiver in the NFL.
Yeah.
There's not a worse situation. And if you're telling me Zay Flowers is a lock to start over Devin Duvernay healthy, you don't know. They're both speedsters.
You got Odell, you got Duvernay, you got Bateman, Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews is going to demand, over 100 targets in that offense. And then they're going to, obviously, Lamar's a running quarterback, so that takes away some of it. And then you have J.K. Dobbins, who, if healthy, he's proven that he's a really good back.
Yeah.
So then we got a quick kind of run here. We go Zay Flowers at the 1-8. We just talked about Jordan Addison 1-9. I would take Addison over Flowers if it's me.
Same.
And then our first tight end off the board at 110 with Kincaid. That's probably the earliest you're going to see him go.
For sure.
111 Will Levis. That's an interesting one. I don't know. What do you think about Will Levis? Going to Tennessee. Tannehill is obviously. I think we all know what's going on. They want a different quarterback. Mingo goes at the 112.
Yeah, I went with Mingo.
I love it. You know my love for Mingo.
Brian Reach. I mean, to be honest, here's my outlook when it comes to rookie drafts. There's certainties. Running backs don't do more than 3 or 4 years relevant for the most part in fantasy. So that kind of hurts him a little bit. Quarterback class after, CJ Stroud and Bryce Young and Richardson. Levis is a who knows. It could be Paxton Lynch. You don't know.
Yeah.
It literally is a big maybe.
It's fair.
But I get the draft pick. But it's like you look at the rest of the running backs that's there, and you're like, oh my God, none of those guys are gonna get the hand. Like some of those guys might not be the starting back for 2 years. They might just be RB2 or splitting carries for 2 to 3 years. And for me, you have Mingo going to a situation where the receiving core isn't great. They have a new quarterback, and they're going to throw the ball.
Yeah.
So
here we go. We got
that's
some
my logic with 12.
Yeah, I love Mingo. I think he's great. Some people don't. Some people love him. Some people hate him. Again, he's locked in with a rookie quarterback, so they're going to try to get some chemistry early. So I'm excited for that. Norton goes Kendre Miller at 2-1. We talked about him yesterday. I think he has a clear path to being the lead back there within the next 2 years. So yes. I love that pick. Rashee Rice at the 2-2. Going to Kansas City, he's going to have opportunities locked in with Patty Mahomes. Kansas City receivers are scary, right? You never really know what you're going to get.
Name Tyreek Hill, you really aren't trusting any of them.
Yeah, but if you hit on a receiver in that offense, it's sky's the limit. And then Zach Charbonnet goes to 2-3 in Seattle. Hate the landing spot, love the player. Brian goes with Kane to Miami at 2-4. Again, perfect landing spot. The players, I don't know, man. He's tiny.
Yeah,
he's tiny. That's the only knock I can say on the guy. Perfect landing spot. He could be something real special, but with his body type, he's got to do it on 15 touches. He's not going to get 25, 30 touches a game. It's just not going to happen. Second tight end off the board at 2-5, Michael Mayer going to Cody. What do you think about that landing spot with Las Vegas? We haven't really talked too much about him.
Going to be a lot. I mean, we saw what Jimmy G did with George Kittle. So, and we know what McDaniels can do with tight ends. Las Vegas didn't have their tight end healthy last year. This year, we don't even know who the starter really is going to be. So it's a great landing spot. That might be, the only rookie tight end I feel, confident actually drafting.
I agree. I think he's instantly locked into the tight end one there. He's going to get in. Like you said, they know how to utilize the tight end. Jimmy G's proven that he can use a tight end well. I like it. Mario goes with Rashawn Johnson at 2-6. Mario loves Rashawn Johnson. I'm not sold yet. I want to see him prove it. I think it's a murky backfield, so he does have, if he looks really good, he could be the starter there.
He's a 4th round running back. It is literally just hope that he's good. If not a ton of 4th round running backs coming in end up being long-term solutions or very good. And to be honest, I don't see him taking the spot for Dante Foreman.
Yeah.
Foreman's a better, bigger back and had better production at Texas when he was in college.
Yeah. 2-7, I go with Jaden Reed, Green Bay receiver. I love his tape. I think he's an awesome player. I really, really think he is going to be – he has the potential to be something really special. And he's got 2 young receivers alongside him. So, in my mind, I think he has a clear path to – if he can prove it, I think he has a clear path to being maybe that wide receiver 1. Christian Watson, I think he's great, but he's not going to demand 120 targets. So, he can do his damage on, or he's not going to demand 150 targets. He can do his damage on 100, and Jaden Reed can get those, hopefully 120 targets. Right. He's going to beat out Dubs, which I think he can definitely do. Hendon Hooker going at 2-8. They said he's going to sit this season, coming off that ACL, which makes a ton of sense. He's got to learn the playbook. He's got to figure out these players. I think he's a solid play for the next. He's not going to play anytime soon, but if he gets in that offense, the offense, there's nothing but weapons. So I do 2.8's a little high for me on that, but
I don't hate it. Don't hate it.
Yeah, 2.9. Tajay Spear goes. Again, we talked about him ad nauseum last night. I love Tajay. I think he's good, but I get the concerns with the ACL.
Yeah, 100%. He's not a bigger back. It's going to be a little bit different for the offense, but he's definitely more exciting than Haskins is.
So out of those round 3 running backs, and you can throw in Roschon, Kane, Miller. Who's your favorite? Tank Bigsby.
Sorry, I had to make my pick. I think the situation. That was taken in our second round. I'm probably going Miller.
Yeah, I think Miller's the guy.
Yeah, he's just so built. I really like Miami's pick. It's just he's so small, but he is so fun to watch.
He is.
His tape is nuts.
The only thing I just keep going back to it. I just think at the max he'll get 12 touches.
He's just built I think it's one thing that the Niners figured out and the Dolphins have figured out where it's we don't necessarily need backs who are running in between tackles if we can open up a zone for them and just give them a big enough hole. If they're fast enough, they're out of there. I mean, that's basically the Dolphins running backs. That's how
it's perfect.
The Niners running backs are. They have quick, fast running backs. They don't have power backs.
It's a perfect spot for him.
Yeah.
So then Josh Downs goes at the 210. Marvin Mims at 211. To get him that late, that's a great pick. Sam Laporta, you're going Sam Laporta at 212. I'm just going to run through these and we'll get back to you. Hyatt at 3-1. McBride, Minnesota rookie running back, goes at the 3-2 to Greg. Luke Musgrave goes at the 3-3. Tank Bigsby 3-4. That's a late pick for an RB that should get some work this season. Booty goes at the 3-5. Interesting to me there. And then Tillman goes at the 3-6. Give me your rundown on why you went with Laporta at the 212 and not one of those running backs or receivers.
I just think that Lions offense is going to be even better than it was last year, especially with when J-Mo comes back from the suspension. In that meantime, Detroit, I think if you're taking a tight end late, I think he's got as much opportunity as your tight ends 8 to 15 in the league. So it's worth it. Hawkinson got looks when he was at Detroit. Now he didn't lead the league in targets at tight ends, but he could end up being very good. It was more of a value pick than anything.
He really could. He's a fun player to watch, man. He catches everything around him. He runs well after the catch, bounces off of players. And like you said, in that offense, he's not going to be the focal point. So he's going to have the opportunity to get open, especially in the red zone, take some pressure off Amon-Ra. So I love that pick. And then I'm going to go with Chase Brown here. Again, I just like the landing spot for him. He was awesome at Illinois. I think 1,600 yards last season in the Big Ten, which is crazy. And then you don't know what's going on with Mixon, right? All the off the field issues. He has a serious opportunity, maybe this season, to be the RB1 in a high-powered Bengals offense. And you just don't get that with rookie running backs. Not to mention, Joe Burrow's probably the least capable of running around any quarterback in the NFL, right? One of them. He's not gonna run a ton. So all that's gonna, especially the red zone too, that's all gonna go to Chase Brown. If something happens with Mixon, which very well could happen.
Yeah, so if I'm going into the draft and I have Joe Mixon, to be honest,
take him in the second.
I'm taking Chase Brown in the second. You have to.
I really thought about taking him at the 2-7.
Yeah, you have to at that point.
If I had Mixon, there's no question I would take him at the 2
Yeah,
spot.
100%.
Then we go with Gray, the rookie running back from New York, 3.8. Again, question marks around Saquon. I don't hate that pick. Zach Evans at the 3.9. Another player that, man, I really could see him getting some work in this Rams offense. Akers, injury history, and he was good at sometimes last year, bad at sometimes last year. And then you got Kyren Williams, who looked terrible last year.
Mm-hmm.
So he does have an opportunity to get in that offense.
Yeah.
Then you got Izzy going at the 3.10.
You're probably taking him at the end of the second, early third if you have Breece Hall.
Yes, I agree with that. Just hate the landing spot. He's not
great for what he is. He's the way I looked at him going into the draft, I thought he was a mid-level running back, potential, solid enough. I think he'd be a solid, RB and backup duties. And he's more talented than Carter. Carter was supposed to have a big jump, even, with Breece. They thought they would get more efficient with him, and he was terrible last year. To be honest, he was not very good.
Yeah. Greg said he went with McBride because of the Dalvin Cook news. Look, I think we all know Dalvin Cook's not going to be there too much longer. And
he's got a year left.
I don't think I really don't think they're sold on Madison, personally. Otherwise, I really think they would have moved on by now. So, and McBride showed that he's a pretty decent back in college. So
yeah,
I don't hate the pick. Yeah, no. I don't hate the pick. And even so, if Dalvin's gone, say he's gone before the season starts, I don't think Madison's getting all the work. I think it could be, closer to 65, 35, 60, 40. And McBride getting some decent work in this offense with a clear path to maybe taking Madison over if he just doesn't produce. Then we go Tank Dell at the 3.11. It's worth a shot, man. He was awesome in Houston. He's a fun receiver to watch. He's just so tiny. But by all accounts, he's having some pretty good chemistry with CJ Stroud. So it's definitely worth a shot there. And then you finish it out with Evan Hall.
Yeah.
What do you think? What's your thoughts on that?
Value pick, kind of where it is at this point. I feel like with running backs, there's not a lot of opportunity elsewhere really. With Indianapolis, it's they let Deion Jackson go. You have Moss there, which he looked okay in a couple of games, but the Bills didn't love him after a couple seasons. So there could be opportunity with a JT injury. It's just more of just depth at this point.
Yeah, 100%, man. I mean, you got to deal with JT there. Like, he's the answer there long term. I think he'll get a long-term contract if he produces this season, but he's an injury away from getting on the field, and Taylor's had some injury concerns, right? So,
sure.
I don't hate it. Like you said, it's a value pick in the third round that it could pan out. It couldn't, but why not? It's the 3.12. It's definitely worth a shot there.
Yeah, and I wanted to touch on McBride because I do think if he's getting drafted in the third round, if he falls there, I think he could be the steal of the rookie draft where he's at. And just like how you touch on, they're not sold on Madison, and
I don't think they are.
And one of the main things is we've seen Dalvin Cook not just put up a ton of points, but just be very efficient in the running and receiving game. Mm-hmm. So he's running well. It's not just numbers. He's not just getting a ton of touches. He's efficient with it. Madison is fantasy relevant because of touches and opportunity, but he's never efficient. So since he's been a running back for the Vikings, I don't think he's averaged over 4 yards a carry ever. So when you're looking at it, it's like Madison does some good things. He's a good depth running back, but it's also one of the situations where you really don't know if he's even that decent just because he's had opportunity and good offense.
100%. I just keep circling. I mean, we've said, how many years have we been saying, like, go trade for Madison? Go get Madison on your dynasty team. He's gonna be the starter there. And it just hasn't happened yet. And I keep circling
not
back.
that good.
I think that's like, I just don't think that they're sold on him yet to give him the offense. And when that opportunity comes, he needs to grab it and run with it, or McBride could get a serious part of this offense.
For sure. I feel like he's gonna get every opportunity.
I don't see why he wouldn't.
They don't
have anything invested in Madison.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, they could cut him in a year, 2 years after this season and just run with McBride in a high powered offense.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I mean, there's just, when you look at McBride's tape, it's really fun to watch him play. Now, his competition wasn't great because of where he went to school, but
yeah,
he looked very good. He looked very good, and he ran hard. He's going to get the opportunity. It has to. Madison is, I think he does just a bunch of things just okay, and that's why they like him. He can pass protect a little bit. You know, he can block a little bit. He catches the ball solid, but he's not really that quick. He's not that fast. He doesn't get extra yards.
Yeah. And again, man, even if Dalvin's gone and McBride's the starter, I don't think it's going to be a workhorse role by any means.
Yeah, I don't see it. I mean, to be honest, I don't see the Vikings. I don't know. I don't see them getting rid of Cook just because of.
They're an interesting team this year to me.
This is a make or break year. It's a make or break year.
It seems like they've tried to take some money off the table. They've cut some big salaries. They've cleaned up the defense a little bit. So I don't know if they're in rebuild or if they're still trying to win or what they're doing, or if they're just clearing cap to pay Jefferson and like give him a massive contract, which is possible. But it's interesting because and a lot of reports that they're not sold on Kirk Cousins. So they've been looking for quarterbacks and stuff like that.
Right. There's just no option.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like if there was an option for a younger quarterback that they liked, would they have just like Trey Lance or something? Like trade for Trey Lance. And then if you do that, you might as well get rid of Dalvin Cook.
Yeah. No, I mean I get that. If you're moving Kirk, then yeah, you get rid of Dalvin Cook. I don't know. I feel like with the NFL, there's always this piece of us that we all think we know what we're doing. And then the NFL, it's like, you know, Pete Carroll talking about running backs and you know, it's all just for show. Like what you see and what you hear is what they want you to see and what like they want you to hear most of the time. So you really just don't know. Where I feel every year I hear about Kirk isn't, you know, the Vikings don't love Kirk. They're seeing if there's other options. You know, every year is a hot seat year for Kirk. And when it comes down to it, it's like, you know, these guys are weighing out, like, are there, you know, how many better quarterbacks are there? 15 better quarterbacks in the NFL right now? Probably not.
Yeah. Then Kirk, I mean, he's definitely top 15.
Yeah.
Argument for top 12.
Right.
But like the good thing for Kirk is he's in the NFC. Right?
Oh, that division is so like open, completely open.
The whole conference. I mean, everything, it's wide open. All the top tier quarterback talents in the AFC. So yeah, if you have a good enough quarterback in the NFC, like you can try to make a run with him, and it just you can get to the Super Bowl with a decent enough quarterback, as opposed to the AFC is like, if you don't have one of those top tier quarterbacks, you're not making it out. Like you'd have to beat Patty, you'd have to beat Josh Allen, you'd have to beat Joe Burrow, you'd have to beat Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence, Aaron Rodgers. Now, like it's a gauntlet.
There's literally nobody in the NFC.
And then that's what I'm saying. Who's in the NFC? Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff,
Geno Smith,
Dak Prescott,
like just a bunch of
solid quarterbacks.
like because of how bad the NFC is at QB and how the NFC North, how bad they are just across the board, like Hooker might end up being like a Jordan Love situation where like he could be good, but you might have to sit on him for 3 or 4 years because there's nothing I think in this division currently that's going to make Jared Goff look bad.
Yeah, 100%. And that's like you in the NFC, you can build a team how like the Niners built their team, right?
Yeah.
Like you hit up front hard, you put the
Defense
skill
hard.
positions around, and then you piece the quarterback together, try to figure it out. And if you have a good enough coach, you can do that. And then hopefully you fall. I mean, granted, they did trade up and get Trey Lance, and it just didn't work out, but they still went. I mean, they're in the playoffs every season, making a deep run into the playoffs every season with a 6th-round quarterback. Like you can't do that in the AFC. I don't care what happens. Like
No.
you're not getting to the AFC Championship with a 6th-round rookie quarterback.
There's got to be 70% or 75% of the AFC is first round quarterbacks, like drafted
At
first
least
round.
top 15 picks.
At least in the AFC, it's probably the biggest margin in a very long time where it's like they're all first round draft quarterbacks.
Yeah, all 1st-round draft, and they're all like premier talent quarterbacks. You know what I mean? Like not just that there's the draft capital. It's that I forgot Lamar Jackson. Like I forgot, like all these other quarterbacks that there's so many of them that you forget.
AFC
How
East,
good.
all first round. AFC North, all first round. AFC South, we'll see.
AFC North is
all first
I
rounders.
believe all first round.
Yeah, AFC North and AFC East are all first rounders.
So every quarterback's a 1st-round pick?
That's what I'm saying. In the AFC, 75-80% of the quarterbacks in the AFC are first round talent drafted QBs, and in the NFC, that's where it's kind of split.
I'm trying to think who is not in the AFC.
AFC West.
Who we got? Oh yeah, you got Hurt. I mean, Russ.
Yep.
Russ was a 3rd-round pick, but he's been a multiple-year Pro Bowl.
Right. But he's not a first-round pick.
No. Is he the only one?
I'm trying to think in the AFC. There's also Jimmy G was not a first-round pick.
Yeah, Jimmy G. So Jimmy G and
Russ.
Yeah.
That's the only ones I can think
Wild.
of. I mean, AFC South is, it's up in the air, but technically that could be all first rounders.
Wild.
Yeah.
That's where we're at.
And that's kind of the crazy thing is you're either in the NFC to where you're like the talent isn't really there to where you have to worry about a quarterback. So you're going defense heavy, you're going running back, receiver, offensive line. And then the AFC, you're like, they're all Heisman Trophy finalists. Every single person who's a starting quarterback in the AFC besides 2 people finished top 3 or 4 in the Heisman Trophy. All of them.
And that's why, like, it makes the Browns trading for Deshaun Watson and throwing everything they could at the guy. You have to. Yeah. Otherwise, you're just going to be middle of the pack for the next 10 years.
Yeah. I mean, as a Pats fan, it's like, I'm not saying I'm sold on Justin Fields yet. That's another discussion. But I wanted Fields over Mac Jones just because I thought there was more potential. And I thought Justin Fields with the right coach and offensive line, he could be really good. And I think that can still happen. But the Patriots had to take Mac Jones. They looked around and saw the Jets, they were improving in certain areas. The Bills were going to be almost unbeatable. Tua was at Miami, and you're like, okay, like we have to give a first rounder a shot. We can, even if we're not 100% sold on him, we have to figure something else out.
Yeah, no.
NFC just doesn't do that typically. Now I feel like now they're starting to get the hint. Like you're going to see QBs just get overdrafted, overvalued in the NFC. I feel like they're going to reach for them. but they got to catch up.
I'm going through these teams. I mean, you got the Colts, who they just took a top 5 pick.
Right.
Raiders got Jimmy G. Tennessee, Tannehill was a first-round pick.
Yep.
And then that's it. Everyone else is a first-round pick.
Yeah.
And it's wild.
Crazy to think the Dolphins draft. What was Tannehill drafted? Probably like, what, 13th, 17th, something like that? Somewhere in the teens.
Find out. He went. He went 8.
8.
Mm-hmm.
That's a
I remember
lot
that.
higher.
There was a lot of talks about that because he was a converted
Wide receiver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the AFC's a gauntlet, man. Like, if you don't have a top 10 quarterback, you're in the league. Like, if you don't have a top 10 quarterback in the league, you're not getting out of the AFC.
No. I mean, there's those days of Dilfer taking a team to the Super Bowl are gone. Gone.
In the AFC.
Oh, for sure.
The NFC, I could see it.
Well, the NFC just pretty much did it with the Niners. Hey, let's get a top 5 defense, and you could throw Helen Keller and Ray Charles out there, and we get to the playoffs.
Well, they tried against Philly, and
but they that was them with their 4th string or quarterback.
They were running out They ran out TMC to try to throw the ball.
Yeah, they ran out of quarterbacks, and everybody's still thinking there's a chance.
True. Yeah, I'm curious. I'm so curious what would have happened in that game if Purdy didn't get hurt.
Yeah, it would have been
like how that would have played out.
I don't. It's a crazy hypothetical, but I think the game would have been closer. Obviously, I mean, Purdy could be the truth, and that's what's scary is you don't know if he is because he looked just as good as Jimmy G did when Jimmy G was healthy.
Yeah, that's a good way to put that, which makes me very curious how Jimmy G is going to look in Las Vegas. Because I think if anything, Purdy looked better. And is that more of a, like, damn, Kyle Shanahan's just such a good coach that he can make any quarterback look pretty good?
I think that's a big part. I think Kyle Shanahan is that good. I also think there's a little bit of like kind of when Baker coming in and just playing super loose, like trying to prove something. I think that's kind of what Purdy did. Like, this is my shot. I'm going to just play confident and then things can happen, the next year.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see when Purdy's back and the Niners.
The thing of it is, though, is like, we could say that he could come back and look terrible.
For sure.
But we can just say, the dude blew his elbow out.
Yeah.
So you'll never know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You'll never know. That injury was nuts, dude. Like, you don't realize how terrible it was. In the game, you're like, oh, and then you're like, oh, man.
Throw some ice on it. Get back in there.
Like, this guy's basically having Tommy John surgery.
It's crazy. Like,
it could take him 2 years to really get back.
Mm-hmm. Which, like,
and then
makes me super interested in Trey Lance.
Oh, I know Brian gives me a lot of crap because I crap on Trey Lance all the time, and he's always like, give him a chance. It's his second year. It's his first year. I'm like, at this point, it's like, he can't stay. He's not even ever healthy. And
that's the thing, right?
And then with him not being, it's like we've seen him play 2 games, and in those games, he didn't look great. He looked like he can run, but he's got a strong arm. But I want to see multiple games where he has to figure out how to win without just throwing deep balls or running.
Yeah, that injury sucked, man. Him breaking his ankle like that, and
that's gonna.
They just have no luck with quarterbacks.
No,
like injuries and quarterbacks.
No, it's because the NFC is just loaded with big defensive linemen.
Yeah, It's a scary. Yeah, man. The NFC is just they're monsters up front, and then just
Edge
say whatever
rushers.
whatever to everything else.
Yeah, I feel like they have like probably the best edge rushers in football is in the NFC.
Easily. All right, this was a solid mock. It was a good night to get this in, and then we can kind of compare. I'm very curious to compare this mock to our previous one before the draft. So that was always fun. It's always fun to look back at those. Pretty.
Yeah, it's a valid point.
Interesting. And Purdy also had CMC, right? Big difference.
Come on. I mean, Purdy came in. The situation at the Niners they don't make it more ideal. You want a good online? You want a top 5 running back? You want 2 good receivers? You want a top 3 tight end? And then top 3 offensive mind in football? That's what I'm saying. You don't know. At least Jimmy G, we've seen years of it. His thing has been he's not ever healthy. And when he is solid. He's a little less than Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, dude, the talks, funny you say that, but the talks of Kirk Cousins getting traded to the Niners and them getting Trey Lance, man, would I love to see that.
I mean, Debo, Ayuk, and Kittle would be nuts.
Everybody would thrive in that offense. Everybody would thrive in that. It would be unbelievable.
Yeah.
Not that I'm like, I like Kirk Cousins. I think he's a good player, but just plug him in with Kyle Shanahan and all those weapons around him with CMC. Man, that'd be fun.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like Kirk is just, we talk about how good the Vikings are, and then it's like, is the coach actually even that good? Is the offensive coordinator actually that good? Because it's like, Kirk's looked pretty efficient.
Kirk's looked good everywhere he's gone.
So it's like, you can't keep blaming him. It's got to figure it out.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%. I'm excited to see where the Niners go at quarterback this season, because I think that's still a big question mark. And
if he's healthy.
I could see some trade happening. I could.
I would love it. I want to see Captain Kirk get the reins.
Super Bowl or bust if they get Kirk.
Oh, yeah. Well, we say that every year about the Niners.
All right, everybody. Alex, this was fun, man. That mock draft. We'll get that up on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, all those major streaming platforms. If you don't follow us on Twitter, it's at DadBotFS. We are on YouTube and Twitch at DadBot Fantasy Squad. For Rob, that's Alex. Peace.